professional live stream number 40. I can't believe how many of these we've actually done. This evening we're going to be looking at the most popular reviews that have ever been on the channel and the most popular videos full stop. They are actually slightly different. Not all the videos that the most popular have been reviews, and not all the videos that are most popular are necessarily what you'd expect. It's an all sorts of mixture. So if we look at the most popular channel reviews, which I will bring up in a second, I'm just going to bring up as well the things on a second device so I can keep track of the comments section, which is always a little bit tricky. Then we'll start. So the most popular video that's ever been on the channel, it's not actually in some ways that hard to guess. It's still a real surprise to me, and that's the 50th birthday of the Ford Capri that was filmed at Brooklands in September 2019. Now that has had a total of 49,400 views. It's amazing. I still sometimes get up to like 40-50 views every 48 hours for that. Not at the moment, but I might do. And it's surprising, but when I did a Capri review, which was in October 2020, that didn't do particularly well. I don't really understand that. If I understood how the YouTube algorithm works, I'd be an incredibly rich man, but I'm not, and I don't understand how it works. So there we go. The second most popular video on the channel as a whole is the most popular review. It's No Budget Reviews 2007 Honda Jazz. That was uploaded in September 2020, and it's had 33,600 views. I have absolutely no idea why. Nobody knows to this day. It's not, if you watch it, a particularly kind of great video, I don't think. I really don't understand. Nobody seems to be able to actually tell me why that is the most popular video on the channel. I don't know. Here's the answer. I've absolutely, utterly no idea. Maybe you can tell me that. We have got another Jazz coming up. That was an automatic Jazz, Mark II Jazz, they're known as, because there was a Mark I Jazz in this country in the 1980s, based on a thing called the Honda City. But yes, I don't know why that's been so popular. The next video is something that a lot of you might not even know that I filmed. It was released in December 2019, and it was the walk around of the then new 2020 model MGHS 1.5 exclusive manual. Now I've had a lot of MGs on the channel, the newer MGs from Motor UK, which are sort of post 2011 ones, and for some reason that one is the most popular one of all, and it's not even the full review. This is what I get quite annoyed about sometimes, is that we put a lot of effort back in the day into making Tweed Jacket reviews, and that cost a lot of money. It took a lot of time, a lot of skill, and Tweed Jacket Reviews no longer appears anywhere in the top 5 on the channel. Absolutely nowhere. It doesn't appear at the top 5 at all. It does appear at top 5 reviews, but not the top 5 videos as a whole, and that's something of a shame. The walkarounds, which were filmed unedited mainly and done in less than 15 minutes, they've done really well, and the actual episodes that which we put effort and money into didn't do so well, which is one of the reasons why we stopped kind of making them so frequently, because people weren't appreciating the extra effort we put in, the extra money that they cost to actually make, which disappointed me. But it's just one of these things. So yeah, the walk around of the MGHS 1.5 exclusive manual has had 24,274 views, and then the next one, it's a similar sort of thing, It was the day that the press launch of the 2019 MG ZS exclusive EV. That was actually the press launch of the car. I was invited to MG's headquarters in Marylebone in London as a guest of Planet Auto channel, and that is not a very good video, to be honest. It's not great, but I just happened to sort of catch the sort of wave of it because it was such a new car. The buzz of it was amazing. That was in July 2019. It's had 24,166 views. That was a huge success on the sort of early part of the channel. It was less than a year after I started the channel, and it just went viral, which was amazing for me. So how far down is that one? That's number 4. Number 5 is again another brand new MG at the time. It's a facelifted MG ZS petrol, the 1.5 exclusive manual, which went live in July 2020. I think I was one of the very first people to film that car who wasn't a member of staff at MG Motor UK or one of the dealers. I got to that car, as far as I remember, it was about less than a week after that car had been registered, and that has had 23,451 views. It was already in July 2020. The review we did of that car, again on True Jacket Reviews, wasn't nearly so successful. I don't think that's even had 10,000 views. So you see the sort of pattern we're going through here. So we got on to number 6, which is, should you buy a car without the V5? This is the first attempt at the video. It was released in August 2019, and the video, it's had one of the worst like to dislike ratios ever. This is one of the reasons why you can't see it anymore. I took this down and refilmed it. The new video, if I just check my notes here, which I released towards the beginning of this year, I was so ashamed of it and got such bad comments on that video, although it had 21,000 views. I was just so ashamed of it, I took it down after a while because I just fed up with people complaining. It's had 2,700 views, so it's got time to sort of come back up. But when your like to dislike ratio is 69%, so that's like over 30% of people disliked it. Yeah, you can see why I actually eventually re-recorded it. It's not a great video. You can't even see it anymore, so that one maybe doesn't count. But on my system here, that's the one that's at number 6. Number 7. Second no budget reviews episode on this list. It's the 2004 Suzuki Jimny. It's the very first episode of no budget reviews that I came up with literally in November 2019 because we had just run out of money. This wasn't during the coronavirus or anything. This was before that all happened, but literally we ran out of money. There was no budget to make any more reviews. And very kindly, a gentleman by the name of Chris, who runs a channel called Boats and Engines, was not that active anymore, but he had a Jimny, and he said, do you want to film it? And I said, well, I can't do True Jacket Reviews on it. We're going to just have to try to make something up. So I just sort of came up with the idea of no budget reviews and on the spot to do that particular car. And it's kind of rough. It's not brilliant. The audio's quite poor as well in it. And it's literally just done on this old phone that I bought on second-hand on eBay. I've still got that phone. I still sometimes use it. I don't always use it for doing no budget reviews now, but sometimes I do. And it's had almost 21,000 views. It's like 20,750. And I don't know why. I got no idea. Some of the really early no budget reviews episodes have done really, really well, and I don't particularly know why. It's a mystery to me. Maybe some of you can tell me in the chat section why you think that might be. Then the next one, which is 8th most popular video on the channel, is again, it's not a massive surprise. It's the most popular episode of True Jacket Reviews ever. It's the 2019 MG ZS EV exclusive. That car is still owned by my friend Richard Jackson. We filmed it at Hatfield House, and we got thrown out of Hatfield House actually at one point during filming that. So some of the shots you see of the car are not filmed anywhere near there. They were filmed at a place called North Mims, which is not too far from there, but it kind of looks superficially similar, but we had to move, so we didn't actually complete the review kind of in that. And the weather was appalling. You watch it, but the bongs went off, but we completed it. Mr. Richardson filmed it, Mr. Frank edited it, and it has had 19,700 views, which is quite good. We're very happy with it. I was not very well away on that either, so it was quite something to have actually achieved it. I'm very happy with what we managed to achieve, given the circumstances that was actually filmed in. Next is this number 9, Tweed Jacket Reviews 2020 MG HS 1.5 manual, filmed in December 2019. There's not a lot to say about this. Mr. Franks had just got a new camera or something, and that review looks amazing. I mean, I don't know if it is like the best one we've ever done or something, but it looks good because he just bought a new camera for that, and it looked brilliant. That's had 19,300 views, and again, there's quite a disparity between the walk around video that I put up on the 4th of December, and that video was released on the 13th. It's something like, it's something like 5,000 views less, which is annoying, because Tweed Jacket Reviews is my favourite format of anything on the channel. It always will be. It's how the channel started in September 2018, and Tweed Jacket Reviews was going to be the only format originally on the channel ever. That was going to be it. We were not going to do anything else. Eventually, we had realised that I had to do other videos in order to try to get some sort of traction, and here we are with no plans to actually film any Tweed Jacket Reviews at the moment at all. We just don't have any plans to make any, because we just haven't, recently the ones we've done just haven't had the acceptance or views or anything. You know, nobody's seems to be bothered about it anymore, so that's why we haven't made any. It's just simple as that. It's economics. The 10th most popular video on the channel, again, it's a sort of kind of theme that's sort of going through here. But at the early days of the channel, this was what was popular. Tweed Jacket News 2021 MGHS plug-in hybrid, which was filmed almost exactly a year after the HS manual. With this one, it's had 18,500 views. So you can sort of see that those two might eventually become kind of, you know, about the same. Again, we were sort of quite early on in you know, the people who got hands on one of these, which sort of helped, I think. And again, Summit Garage, we filmed a lot of the stuff. We still do sometimes film MGs from there because they're very good to us, and they let us film some of the brand new models, and we'd have to wait in like a queue from MG Motor UK's press office to get hold of ones, which, you know, because I'm quite a small channel, I don't really get the sort of priority. But, you know, it's just the way that it goes. You know, we try to get the most we can, but obviously if you're a small channel, like I've always been a small channel, then you don't get, you know, first priority on some of these things, which is just the way that it goes. So that's the top 10 list of most popular videos on the channel. We'll have a little look a bit later at the most popular reviews. Incidentally, number 11, because of the V5 video, I took it down. Because it's so bad. It's genuinely really bad. I don't want any of you to see that again. So if we take that one out, then the next one is, again, it's an early no budget reviews episode. It's the 2004 Suzuki Grand Vitara. That car was only filmed as like a sort of contingency. I was offered an MG Z2 120. And I did do that as well on the same day. But I literally, a chap called Ibby, who's had quite a few cars on the channel now. He's had several actually. I think I've filmed him 4 times. Sometimes he acquires these cars and wants me to go to film. He lives near Watford, and he just had this Grand Vitara. So I did some research on it, and I filmed it. The video probably took me half an hour. I drove it for a very short distance inside Watford, and just parked it up, and that was it. And somehow that video that was filmed in half an hour in the rain, mainly by the side of a quiet road in Watford, has had 18,500 views. Again, I don't know why. That's not really one of my best or anything like that. It's just the way that it is. Let's have a look at some of the things in the chat section. Bad Book says, good evening, sir. Good evening to you, Mark. Paulie Gatu says, good evening, sir. Good evening to you, sir. DBT says, good evening. Good evening to you, sir. Mr. G says, good evening. Oh, hello, Mr. G. Hello, sir. Diseasel, I think we can say that, can't we? Because it's a different word from one we can't say. Says, good evening. Good evening to you, sir. Greg Goddard says, good evening. Good evening, Greg. Blackline says, good evening. Bastard Bishop says, good evening, all. Good evening, sir. Mr. Paulie Gattieri says, how's the 460 going since you heard about Mr. Coleman? It's going well. There is a video I recorded on the day after I picked it up from Mr. Coleman's. That's coming out. I don't actually know at the moment because I've got so many videos in the queue to be released, but they're ready to go out. It's just with the Retro Rides Weekender, I filmed an awful lot more videos than I imagined I would, and that's not gone very well, unfortunately. It's really not gone well. It's totally crashed off. I shouldn't have filmed so many videos at that event because it for some reason, although it was quite a big event and it's quite well known, there is no traction for that event on YouTube. I am in the crazy position of having the most popular videos at the moment on it. I don't think any channels that are bigger than me actually filmed that. Not that it matters. Some of the small channels will get more views than the larger one, but there is no traction for it. It's gone. If I'd filmed about maybe 8 in total, it would have been all right. But because I did 14, and I did bust a gut doing that, which I often do, there is no more traction on it. So I'm not going to be filming for any more than a day if I go next year. I will just do one day because the numbers will just sort of tail off. But I have to keep getting these out as quickly as I can because if I don't, the numbers will just fall off further. So that's not been the best, really. It's a shame when you do a lot of work and bust your gut to do something and people don't want to watch the videos, but that just happens sometimes. So because I've had so many of that, other things have been kind of pushed to the back of the queue. So the video I did on that, I filmed that before Retro Rides Weekender. So it is there, but it might actually be coming out the week after next now because I've been to another event today and there are some videos I absolutely need to get out this week that have been waiting for even longer. So it is there, it will just be coming at some point. Unless you're a channel member, in which case channel members have already seen it. Nick Z, this is about no budget reviews, I think. He says relatability. I think that's to do with no budget reviews. Yeah, possibly. We've got the next Honda Jazz that I filmed earlier this month that will be going up probably again the same week as that 460 update video. And we'll see if that manual one does as well as the automatic one has done. I don't know what will happen. I'm not sure. The auto one, let's just see how many views that's having every 48 hours at the moment. Let's have a look at the analytics and it will tell me. Let's just have a look here. Oh, it's interesting. It's not in the chart anymore. So it's like gone down a bit. Huh, interesting. No, I can't tell you quite now, but it's quite good still. Yeah, we'll see. Sean Cook says, good evening, sir. Stephen Jervis says, good evening. What do you think of the 2-litre Duratec Volvo Ford Mazda engine in the 2008 Volvo S40, the second generation S40? That is actually a Mazda engine. It's not a Volvo engine. It's not a Ford engine. Sometimes with those, you do see Ford like stamping and things like that on it, but it's a Mazda engine. It's called a Mazda L engine. It was used in all kinds of cars, tons of them. Volvos, Fords, Mazdas, loads of different cars. It's actually the same engine as in the MX-5. I have driven an MX-5 of that that generation. 2012, I think the one I drove is in 2021, and that's got the same engine in it as well. They're generally very good. They're a chain cam engine, and it was good of Ford and Mazda and Volvo and whoever else was in that sort of company at the time. There were quite a few different brands using it to kind of go through that one. I think they got rid of the old what's called the Z-Tech R engine, which is what the Mondeo originally had, a 2 litre, which was actually 1.6, 1.8, 2 litre, all the same Z-Tech R engine, which was introduced in the Escort in 1991 as a 1.8. I don't think that went through Euro 4 emissions. I think that's why they used the Mazda engine, and that went through Euro 4 fine and Euro 5. Generally, they're quite strong, as far as I'm concerned. Mark from Badbook says, "Do the big view videos come up near top of the search on a particular car type? Are these registered subscribers or all of sundry doing a search of the car?" I don't know, to be honest. With the Renault capture video I did earlier this year, that has been a total surprise. I don't know why that video has done so well. Nobody knows. It's on contingency reviews, which generally gets very, very few views. I only did it because a friend of mine had a 207 on the channel in the early days of True Jacket Reviews, which was terrible. It's an awful car. It's rubbish. She knew it was, and she let me do it, which was fine because we had some fun doing that, Mr. Franks and I. But she eventually got a new car. This is the new car that she eventually got. And we were filming the MG6s that you would have seen on the Road 25 GTI and all sorts of stuff in vaguely that area. So I thought we'll go back to this place where we filmed the 207, and a lot of the early episodes of True Jacket Reviews were filmed at that same place near Epsom. We'll just do this capture. It's here. Weather was terrible. It was all it was January and it was muddy and raining and all this sort of stuff. But I did it, and because reviews is just there because it's something else is there, doesn't fit in any other format. That's really what sort of happened with that. It just kind of was there and filmed it, and for some reason the views just did this. Unlike loads of other things I've done recently, which is very strange. The Triumph Stag video I thought was particularly good. I enjoyed that, but that's not had that many views at the moment. It might come up in future. Sometimes these things do. The Suzuki Grand Vitara video didn't necessarily do very well at all, but it's done quite well now. I don't know. You can end up at the top of the search results. I think that's maybe what Renault Capture did. I don't know why, because I've never had another capture on the channel before that, or had Renault videos do particularly well. But I don't know. Blackline says, "For numerous YouTubers doing very well for views and subscriptions, but don't have any direction. They just post a high quantity of videos." I mean, I do post high quantity of videos. I've been putting up pretty much one video a day for a long time now. I've tried to go to less than that, but I found that everything drops off if I don't actually if I don't do that. That's why you see so many videos on the channel, and people complain about that. But the thing is, a lot of people do skip the ones they don't want to watch, which is fine. I can see that. Very Vague Vlog, I know that's morning. It's a terrible view count, awful. Nobody seems to want to watch that. And Very Vague Vlogs, I've said before, I'm thinking of actually stopping doing them because they don't get the same number of people watching them as a lot of the other types of video do. But I do them because I know that there are quite a few of you who sort of quite like them. There's quite a little loyal audience. It's rather like the top 10 best-selling cars, and there's a loyal audience for that as well. And they don't get the most, but they don't take an awful long time to sort of make those and edit or anything. So we continue with them. But I'm thinking at least of resting the Very Vague Vlogs or stopping them all together when we get to 100, which is very soon actually. I've just done number 96, and we're very close to actually 100 episodes of that now, which is crazy. But we do have a direction because we keep doing the same thing. We're still kind of on the same things as we have been for a long time. Shambolic shuffles, no budget reviews, sensible secondhand classics, sensible secondhand reviews, sensible contingency reviews, top 10 best-selling cars, Very Vague Vlogs. The direction of the channel's kind of not really that different. I just do what what I sort of do really. Although it's always disheartening to see videos underperforming or something like that. It just kind of sort of happens, you know. And I don't know when I make a video or put it up, what is going to do well or what isn't. What it does rated by the radio capture versus something like a Triumph Stag. I don't know. I don't know what happens. I don't know what everyone wants to see. Nobody does. It's just the way that it goes. Simone Huntcliffe says, good evening. Good evening to you, Simone. Christopher McMullen says, I enjoy your channel. That's very kind of you. Thank you very much indeed. Simone says hello to Black Lines and Bad Books. Button says hello to Simone. Bad Books says hello to Simone. Sundar says thank you for answering my question. Have a good weekend. You too, sir. Thank you very much. Simone said I need to catch up. You don't really, Simone, if you don't want to. There's an awful lot of these videos out there. And you know, some of them are quite long. That's just the way that I do things. You don't need to catch up with them if you don't want to. Although, you know, I keep saying to people who kind of say that sometimes is that if you need something to help you fall asleep at night, then just put on some of these playlists, and sure that will help you sort of nod off. I mean, if nothing else, then that's a help to get to sleep. Paulie Artillery says he liked the Skoda Superb Mark II video. We know, sir. You were quite keen on that one, weren't you, sir? Fortunately, we can't talk about that anymore. Mark from Bad Books says the Volvo S40's got the same engine as the MX-5 2-litre. Yeah, there's Mazda L engine. They are the same. Just needs oil regularly checking, must have full oil, and it's very tunable. Yeah, absolutely. That's Not My Name says I like the Fiat Tipo review. I loved the Fiat Tipo saloon video. I loved making that video. It was at the social event we had in June up at the Lake District last summer. I didn't know I was filming that car until that day. Chap brought it down from Newcastle. I loved the Tipo saloon. It was wonderful. The car itself, to be honest, is a little bit of a disappointment. It's really not that exciting, and the fact they didn't bring the more powerful engines or the higher trim levels of a Tipo saloon to this country annoys me a bit, you know, to be honest. I that car could do with some more powerful engines and, you know, more equipment and things like that, and then it would be a lot better. But as it was okay. I mean, it's fine. There's not really an awful lot more to say other than that it's really, really rare. That's the main that's the kind of you know, thing about it. Simone says I like the very, very vlogs. Yeah, some people really like those for some reason. I don't know particularly, but yeah. Mr. Coleman says good evening. Mr. Coleman is quite jet lagged. He's just come back from a holiday, so he's a bit jet lagged. And he's sending me interesting images of cars that he's been finding on holiday. There's one car that he found that neither of us know what it is. We don't know what the car is. I'm going to have to post that onto Cars Don't See Anymore or something, and just see if somebody can tell me, because I have no idea what that car is. I have absolutely no idea. So Mr. Coleman is here. Everyone say hello, Mr. Coleman. That's very nice. Mr. Coleman and I've been discussing some work that is on with other cars. Sean Cook says my two favourite videos are the Vectras. We've had several Vectras on the channel. We've had 3 now. We've had a Vectra C and 2 Vectra Bs. The Vectra C, Vectra B 1.8, it wasn't very good. They're not very good in small engine form on like the lower trim. They're not good. The ones you want if you've got a Vectra B is something which is higher up, better trimmed, especially with the V6 engine. The V6 Vectras are amazing. And funnily enough, I heard somebody, I think it was a chap who runs a channel about being a police officer, I can't remember his name, he's called Ben, I think. And he was going on about how great the Vauxhall Vectra BV6s were, and they're brilliant. 4-cylinder ones, not so good, particularly the lower spec ones, but the V6 Vectra B is brilliant. The Vectra C, that's a really good value car. A very, very good value car, the Vectra C. They are quite complicated. They kind of engineered them to be almost like a BMW rival, I think, the Vectra Cs. They were much sort of higher in their ambition with that car than with the Bs. And they are, in terms of the perceived quality of the interiors and things like that, and they're big and spacious. They are, interesting. It's just they're not worth very much, and so if you have big repair bills on the Vectra C, they just get scrapped, which is a real shame. I know that James Martin JM on Cars has driven a couple of them. They're 2.8 V6, I think an Elite, and then he's done the V6 Turbo. It's called the VXR, which is stupidly fast. That one. Mr. Coleman says he saw a T-Post Saloon on holiday last week. Yeah, yeah. So T-Post Saloons make me feel very happy. They make me happy. So that's the sort of car that I'm very, very kind of keen on. Simone Hutton Classic says, should I repair my bodywork first or fix the aircon? Personally, I would fix the aircon. That's what I did with the Rover sort of recently, actually. The bodywork on that can wait, I think, as far as I'm concerned. That guy from SETI Alpha 5 says, hello. Oh, hello, sir. Mr. Howard Mojo says, sorry, I'm late, don't worry, sir. Sean Cook enjoyed those two Vectras. I've been just talking about the C1.8 and the V6 Vectra B. Black Line said to Simone that the air conditioning will be the priority to get fixed. I would certainly say that I've been enjoying having some working air conditioning in the Rover recently, since I got that done on, was it Thursday I had that done? Something like that. Mr. Coleman says a certain Alpha will be rejoining his feet tomorrow. Yes. That Alpha has been away for a long time, sir, but that will obviously bring you some joy, won't it, once it's back on the road. That's Not My Name says, have you done a three-wheeler review? No, I'm not really keen on that kind of stuff, I'm afraid. It's not really my kind of thing. Agent Barry, that guy from SETI Alpha 5 says, where I am, definitely air conditioning. Yeah, it's very hot in Missouri. 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, that's very hot, actually. That's very hot. Bad Books, Mark says, Simone, I should repair. And Mr. Harlan Rojo says, I've been doing some more fabrications with the Honda. This is MB6, I think, Honda 1.8 VTI. It's very similar to a Rover 400, that one. More fabrication of Hondas as welding. I'm going to be working with front jacking points. Well, if you're a brave man, sir. I don't get on with that kind of stuff myself. Black Line says, I had a Vectra, but it's a Vectra B 1.8 Auto. It was terrible and dull. Yeah, I drove 1.8 manual saloon on no budget views in 2021, and it wasn't very good. It really wasn't. The car was in really good condition, but there's nothing really to say. The V6s are far more exciting. They are stonkingly good. They are so fast, and Vauxhall with them always underquoted the power output. Now they were 167 horsepower 2.5 V6 Vectra Bs, but really it's probably pushing 180, 190. It's so fast. Even the autos are fast. Simone sounds like she's going to be getting the aircon fixed. That's an excellent idea. Yeah, Mr. Coleman will be having the Alpha back. I'm sure that there are quite a few of you excited about that. I was certainly excited to see that again. Now it's been fixed, or in the process of being fixed, I should say. Agent Barry, that guy from SETI Alpha 5, says Clarkson's review of the Vectra on Top Gear, which was in 1995, that original review. Everybody knows that, and it really damaged his relationship with the Vauxhall press department. They really didn't like that. But it's weird that the car is kind of based a lot on the Mark III Cavalier. It has a lot of the same engines, and the platform is vaguely similar. But for some reason, it just didn't quite sort of surpass the Mark III Cavalier where it's supposed to. Part of the V6, the V6s are wonderful, they're brilliant, but everything else is it's not so good for some reason. The engines, though, V6 engines are wonderful. Simone Classic says, I need to watch the Stag review. Well, you can if you like. I very much enjoyed that. That Stag had been with the owner since 1979, so he's had it a really, really long time. It's a crazy long time. And I enjoyed it. They don't have the nicest steering. The steering, although it's an early power assisted system, they're not that nice in some ways. And I wonder what a Sag would be like without power steering. I don't know. I want to drive one of the saloons, a 2000 or 2500 or something, and sort of compare it, but I've never been offered one of those actually. Right, Basketball Name says, is the Vauxhall Insignia any good? I don't know about the Insignia B. Insignia A, I've sourced one of those. They seem to be rather like the Vectra Cs. They're sort of very low value, but actually they're not that bad. They've got some good engines. The 2.8 V6 Insignia Turbo, the VXR, is very interesting. I got passed by one of those, I think, actually on the motorway yesterday. Mr. Coleman, when I went to see him, did put his foot down in the V6 Vectra for me, and yeah, it shifts well, that thing. Histoman 1990 says, good evening, sir. Good evening to you. How are things progressing with the Volvo? As I said earlier on in the live stream, there is a video which I recorded the day after I picked it up from Mr. Coleman's house, having done a journey of 125 miles in it, and that is coming. It will come probably the week after next at the moment. I just have this massive queue with stuff it's going out, but I need to put it before that. But there will be that video that will, it's a very comprehensive kind of sort of report on what's happened to it, because Mr. Coleman done a lot of work to that car. There is more to do still, but he's done a lot. Yeah, that guy from the Cell City Alpha 5, Agent Barry, I had the 3-litre Elite Vauxhall Omega. It was a much more exciting car. I think rear-wheel drive helped. Of course, I've driven a 2.5 V6 Omega because Mr. Coleman used to have one, and yeah, it's a manual one he had, and yeah, they are great. They're really good. Those cars. Russell Cooper says, this is a good question. What if the odds of Saab being raised from the dead over history forever? They've tried to resurrect Saab so many times since they disappeared in about 2012, and I don't think they're coming back. Very, very close to sort of coming back at various times, but never quite did it, and that's a real shame because I like Saab. The Saab 900 that I drove recently, it wasn't really my kind of spec. It was base model 4-speed manual, an early 900. I prefer to drive a higher spec later one myself, but I couldn't resist it when I was offered it. Really, it was amazing. And you know, the classic Saabs are just seen as those, the 1990s, and the original 900s. They are the classic Saabs. I'd like to try 9000. I think that's probably more kind of me. We're a bit more conventional. But it's a question of getting offered one, just like anything else, really. But I do like Saabs. I'm quite fond of them. But I'm more of a Volvo person. Well, like Mr. Coleman, he's not more a Volvo person as well. As Mullen says, I've seen some interesting cars on Cyprus recently. Yeah, there's lots of lovely cars in Cyprus. Loads of stuff that's come over from Japan. And because it's right-hand drive and they've got kilometres as well as the people in Cyprus do. So, yeah, that's a great place for car spotting. And rented a new model Picanto. I got really close to actually driving a new model Picanto at one point, but I never actually did that. Simone Classic says, I like the look of the Insignia, but wanted to see if a grille badge missing. Why do people take those grille badges from the Insignias? I don't really understand that. Wow, yeah, crazy. Mr. Coleman says, yeah, I've heard about this. His mother has an Insignia A. It's a late Insignia A, but it's a 2.8 V6 Turbo VXR Sports Tour, I think they call them. That is a formidable car. Amazing. Mr. Harwood from Rover Joe says he's finishing off his degree work. Wednesday is the final day. Sir, don't worry about it. That's not a problem. It's very important. I remember, work up to my finals, which would have been a very long time ago now. A very long time ago. I've got some grey hair now. It's how long ago it was. But yeah, that was crazy. So That's a good idea to focus on that. My gosh, 40 pages of work yesterday, 40 pages of work tonight, and then he's finished. Mr. Coleman says good luck at studies. Mr. Coleman had a job and did a degree at the same time, which completely mad, but he did. So he's a very well qualified gentleman. That's one of the reasons why he's so good at working on all my cars in his spare time, which is very kind of him. Right. Oh gosh, the all night. Yeah. Agent Barry, that guy from City Alpha 5, just looking at the all night things at university to try to get work in. Yeah, I think we've been there, haven't we? Everyone's been there. Wow. And then Barry says, I know the feeling, 2 a.m. crunching numbers for a business management assignment is no fun. Indeed not. Yeah, Mr. Harwood pulling us all night. Mr. Coleman's got a good thing here. We'll look at what the most popular reviews are of the mods I've mentioned in a second, but he says, shall I answer a question about the grill badges obviously being missing, which Simone brought up? Okay, Mr. Coleman, what is the reason why the the Insignia A's have so many grill badges missing? Why do they have so many missing? Of course, if you look underneath, you can see that the grill's really designed for an Opel badge and not a Vauxhall one. So we'll look at here the analytics and see what the other most popular reviews kind of are, because some of this will be a repeat of the information that I've said before. So most popular review, 2700 Jazz. Second is the Suzuki Jimny. Isn't that funny? The most popular reviews on the channel are very old episode of No Budget Reviews. Third is the Tree Jacket Reviews 2019 MG ZS EV. Third is the 2020 MGHS 1.5 exclusive manual. That's 19, this is 18,000. 2021 MGHS plug-in hybrid. That was sold in 2020 actually, but it's a 2021 model car. 2004 Suzuki Grand Vitara. That was just get this right. Yeah, that's number 6. 7. And there's a whole bunch of them here. These are all filmed around the same time. So this was actually filmed February 2019. Tree Jacket Reviews 2019. Volkswagen Golf. There's a Mark 7.5. It's a very early Tree Jacket episode. That's like episode 4, I think, of Tree Jacket Reviews. A very early one. Why that's done so well, again, I don't know. Then something that Mr. Coleman will very much appreciate. So these are all, there's both on 17,000 views. 1995 Volvo 960 Estate, Mr. Coleman used to own. I loved that 960. Loved driving that car. When I sort of drove that, I sort of thought, you know, at some point in my life, I need to actually own a 90s Volvo, and I've actually owned now 2 of them. So that's good. And then the 10th most popular video review on the channel, it's not really a surprise, about 14,000 views, just above the 1.4 Fiesta Mark 7, 2019 MG3 1.5 exclusive. So yeah, those are the top 10 most popular reviews on the channel. Quite a mixture actually, but there is a sort of theme running through a lot of them. Mr. Coleman's answered the question about the Insignia A grill badge. Heat from the radiator breaks down the plastic over time. If you open the bonnet to check and slam it shut, the plastic tabs break, breaking the badge fixings. So it's quite a poor design. The other one that's really common from a car of that era, it's like similar, is the first generation Nissan Qashqai. How many Qashqais have you seen that have been repaired on the boot handle with duct tape? There are tons, aren't there? Again, it's really common. There is actually an aftermarket fix for that particular problem. I forget the company that actually does that, but there is an aftermarket fix for that. But you know, how many Qashqais do you see, the first generation of J10 Qashqais, with that boot, um, um, with that boot handle broken? It's crazy. Um, right, so we've got a few more things here. That's not my name, so I'd love to run a V70. Yeah, I did a V70 about a year ago, but it was a connection with my lady wife. Chap was a professor at Southampton University. He owned this car from new. He'd had it almost 20 years, and I really liked it. I almost bought that off him, actually. Had a base leather interior. He had it forever. It was what's called the P2 V70, and it was great. Yeah, I really enjoyed that on No Budget Reviews. The P1 or P80 V70, both names are used for those. In some ways, that's even better. It depends what you prefer. I like them both, actually. It's probably these days easy to get a P2. There's loads of them about, and they're very cheap. Some Classics is talking about the boot. The grille design of the badge on the Insignia A. Yeah, it's not very good design. No, sometimes only these things become apparent after people have used them for a long time. And talking of first generation Qashqai that came out late 2006, I think it was prepared in 2013. The Insignia A came out in 2008 and was replaced in 2017, I think, over that. So similar overlap in the era. WRC says, good evening, I own the silver Daihatsu Shiraz GTTI that was at Goodwood last weekend if you'd like to do a feature. Well, you know my email address. That's actually on the screen of like most of the channel reviews, including not channel reviews, channel videos, including all Retro Rides Weekender footage has got my email address on the screen. So please send me an email, and I won't be the only one who would very, very much enjoy actually seeing a video of that. Please send me an email, and we can work something out, I'm sure. Mr. Coleman says Vauxhall Order don't have a service bulletin about the badge on the grille of the Insignia A's. That's a good one, isn't it? Agent Barry says, that guy from City Alpha 5, I drove a Qashqai, very good sir, once, to save on a fuel economy, such a big car, I did 40 mpg. What engine was in that one? Because there's loads of engines to those. I hope that was an engine we can talk about, sir, because you know what we can't talk about on this channel. Simone says, I'm sure they've been easy repair for the Insignia A badge, yeah. Chris Monmouth says, what do you think about the new Dacia Sandero? Well, you just go on my channel and type in Sandero Stepway, because I drove one in September 2021, and you'll see what I thought. That's actually been a relatively popular video, that. Mr. Bill from Fuel Power Channel was with me for that, and he really liked that. I mean, he's got one in the family of those. We can't talk about his one, but that one we can talk about, because there are no more cars with that would actually sell with forbidden fuel engines anymore. There are no more forbidden fuel Dacias anymore, which is good. WRCWC says, I'm only in Sussex, so not far, yes. Like a bit of Shiraz GTTI action, don't we, viewers? We do like that. Agent Barry says, good news about the Sandero. Yeah, well, there we go. Mr. Coleman says, you to replace the bumper to fix the grill patch problem on the Insignia A. Oh dear. Chambers 101 says, hello sir, hello to you sir. What do you think of the new Ineos Grenadier? I don't really have anything to say about it. I mean, it's basically like a rival for the new Defender, isn't it? I mean, I'm not massively kind of up on Land Rovers. I've driven a couple of them. One of them, you see on the channel trying to drive a Series 3 lightweight, which was hard. That was hard. Yeah. Just about managed not to die in it, which was obviously an advantage. Mark from Bad Book says the Sherrod GTTI review sounds great. Well, yes, I think we'd enjoy that one very much. I have done a charade about Generation. It's called the G102, the one I did, but the GTTI is the one that everyone remembers. Simone says TC is poorly again. I need to jack it up and align the drive train correctly. Can you easily get the drive train and Mark 3 Cortina out of alignment? I did realise that. At some point, I should have a Mark 5 Cortina coming up soon, but I need to drive a Mark 3 as well, don't I? I need to drive both of those. Agent Barry, that guy from SETI Alpha 5, says, I remember it was about 1.8 petrol Qashqai. Did they sell a 1.8 petrol Qashqai? First generation. So somebody might know that. I don't actually know that. I'm not so good on them. Mr. Waterson's Scottish Car Enthusiast and Trains TV used to have a Qashqai from that generation, so he'd be able to tell me. But if I look it up on the Fountain of All Knowledge here, on Wikipedia, it might actually tell me. But this information might be incorrect. I don't know. See here if actually we got 1.8. No, they didn't. There are only two petrol engines. There's a 1.6 and a 2 litre. Answer my own question. Right, so probably the 1.6. That's the most popular one. Sean Cook says the P38 Range Rover is still reasonably priced. Yeah, values of those are actually going up now, which is quite weird for me because I remember them being absolute heaps of junk. A friend of mine had one of those, and it was one we can't talk about, unfortunately. And he had it kind of customized so it looked a bit more like an L322. That was a thing people used to do back in the day. I don't know if that's so common anymore, actually, in P38s. Maybe somebody else can tell me that. Right. Oh, gosh, we've almost come to an hour. Does anyone else have anything else they need to say? I mean, I've said quite a lot this evening, a lot of information that you don't normally get to hear about on, on YouTube channels, or really sort of in-depth kind of analytical information. But I think that will probably do. I'll just keep the keep this chat box open. No, that's okay. Right. Well, thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching a slightly special live stream number 45. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you do, because that really helps people discover the videos. If you have more subscribers, it really helps actually. And like this video, comment below. All those things are free, of course. And we shall see you again soon for even more lack of professionalism.